Well, National Political Lead David Speers joins us now from Parliament House. Hi there, David. So the political drama continues, another chapter, but this isn't the coalition getting back together, is it, at this point?
Not yet, but Ros, after a wild week that's seen the coalition split, we are seeing pragmatism prevailing towards the end of the week and a move to start coming back together. They're not there yet. This may take days, this may take weeks, at some point at least, before Parliament sits, which won't be until late July. This has to be settled one way or another. Either they're going to remain separated as two individual parties, the Liberals and the Nationals, or they're going to come back together. And this may not surprise, but both sides are trying to claim something of a win in this move towards coming back together. You heard David Littleproud say there that the Liberals, after his meeting with Susan Lee this morning, have now agreed to go back to their whole party room. The Liberal party room will gather. They haven't set a time for that meeting yet, but they will meet, presumably soon, to work out whether they are now going to meet the four policy demands that the Nationals have laid out before they will enter a coalition agreement. Nuclear power, and it sounds like that will only need to be lifting the ban on nuclear, not the taxpayer-funded, state-owned 7 nuclear power plants they took to the election, but simply removing the ban. The $20 billion Regional Australia Fund they announced during the campaign, the divestiture power to break up supermarkets if they are misusing market power, and the universal service obligation for mobile phone services in the bush. So those 4 policy areas where Susan Lee has said that everything is up for review, the Nats want it cleared, those 4 policy positions will remain. So the Liberals will consider that. Susan Lee has also claimed something of a win here through what David Littleproud just said, and you heard him say it there. They are now absolutely in agreement that they will stick with shadow cabinet solidarity. You won't have decisions made if they are in a coalition and then have the Nats going off saying one thing and the Liberals another. If they're in shadow cabinet, they'll stick together. That's the norm. That's the common practice. Susan Lee, in a letter to David Littleproud that I've received, says, "I acknowledge your comment this morning where you publicly stated for the first time that the Nationals are willing to accept shadow cabinet solidarity as part of a coalition agreement. I thank you for that position. As this issue has now been resolved, I invite you to re-enter good faith negotiations with me on other matters that we are able to form a coalition." So Susan Lee also saying that it's David Littleproud who's given a concession here on that solidarity of shadow cabinet. David Littleproud, as you saw, is saying it's the Liberals who've given a concession and now consider those 4 policy demands. Look, either way, this is a move back towards a healing. As I say, they're not there yet. It's been an incredibly messy week. But as many have noted over the last few days, the longer this drags on, the harder it is to get back together. It sounds like that message may have penetrated. Some of the wise old owls on both sides and former leaders, former prime ministers have all said, guys, sort it out. You've got to be a credible opposition. You've got to stick together. And it looks like there is now some momentum towards that happening.
But do you think this breakup has damaged the coalition if they do reform, David?
Absolutely. I mean, look, not only have we seen the acrimony this week, and look, it hasn't got too bad, but there clearly have been differences over what's driven this and whose position on this and that. And you've still got the policy matters to sort out. This won't be easy. I think, it's likely they will agree to lift the ban on nuclear power without going down the full-scale taxpayer-funded state-owned nuclear power plants, but simply removing the ban is something you would think the Liberals could agree to. We've heard plenty of them, not all of them, but plenty of them say that's what they want to happen. You'd think there'd still be agreement on this $20 billion Regional Australia Fund. It might not be ideal for the Liberals, but the price of having a coalition with the Nats. Similarly on the universal service obligation, I don't think Liberals will have a problem with that. The divestiture power might be more of an issue, we'll see, but in the broad scheme of things, if this is the price of being in coalition, it's possible they get there. So, look, we'll see how all that goes. Don't forget, you've still got differences amongst Liberals on various things as well, whether it's nuclear power, net zero, climate targets and so on. So it's still a rocky road ahead for both the Liberals and the Nationals, not to mention if they come together in a coalition. But as I say, we are seeing greater pragmatism on show just in the last few hours here in Canberra.